go here. This is absolutely the same file as the one I've submitted. So I can click that, then launch, and that starts the application, right? So on run, as soon as the application starts, you can see the home page, which allows you to navigate to the login screen or to the register. Let's start by registering a company, and then after that we're going to register a user, and then we see what data is being updated throughout the system and what else can we do with that. Okay, so clicking on the register button is going to display the register gate, which basically asks the user whether to register a user or company. In our case, we start with registering a company. That loads the page. Right, so as mentioned in the report, company registered from the context of verification code, which is provided by the administrators of the application, and in this current case, that's me. So if that was to be used in a real life scenario, then as a person who wants to register the company, I would click request code, and that will ask me if I really want to open Firefox, since request code opens a web page. And then after the web page is loaded, here I can type in my name, company title, email address, and a message. And then obviously the user then can receive the email code, the verification code, sorry. So let's close this one. So as an administrator right now, I know that there is a code existing, which is 0110, and that code is generated by me, and I can go to the database and put it there. So codes 0110, and then we say the admin of the company is going to be called influencer1. Company title is going to be called Galaxy. And then password is 12345. The password 345. The industry that company is going to operate is sciences, considering the company title. And then since all this data is filled in, now we can click the register company admin button. Just underneath that, there is a text which says clicking the button you agree with the terms and conditions, and that label basically on click also displays a web page where the user before registering can read the terms and conditions of inTouch. By the way, myselfexplained.com is my personal website, and I'm using it currently as a web portal where I can display such documents as the terms and condition and the verification code request page. So on close, now we click on that, and the company admin registration is succeeded. Now click on OK. That opens up the company login page, and now we can pop in our details, which are influencer1, password is 12345, as you can see, then login, and that's going to take it to the dashboard. The dashboard basically gives us one quick overview of the company, such as the company title, number of employees, and it's in red color, and there's a reason for that. Currently 0. Industry of operations, that's sciences, as we chosen. A date when we registered, this is today, as you can see. Verification code is the code that we use to authorize our registration. And we also are given a button profile page to go to the profile page. On the left hand side, you can see as well a little navigation button, which we can use to navigate to the events page or back to the home page. So if we click on the profile page, then we see again the title of the company, the admin username, and the ID of the admin as well. I believe that this data can further be used to recover a lost password, let's say, by confirming the identity of the admin user, which is the reason I provided it here. And again, the date when the company was registered, same as today's. As mentioned, the number of employees label, that's a label and it's clickable. When I click on it, here, well, we just registered the company, but obviously if we've got more data, I'll show you later on. There's a list of all the employees that are being registered here. that are being registered for that company, and then by clicking on them as an administrator, I can view the details and the date when they joined. There is a button generate user verification code, which will come in hand a bit later on. Now that we know what the company dashboard is, we can go to the events page. On the events page, we can, as an administrator, I can create, view, or edit events. In the create page, I can create an event with a title, location, date, date of the event, and time of the event as well. And clicking on create will create that event. View page, as mentioned, as the name goes, will view all the current events. And edit event, there is a list with an existing events which can be further edited. Since we're on the company page, let's create an event. Event is going to be called Webs of Influence. Location is going to be San Diego, USA. And the date is going to be the 17th of August at 9:15 a.m. Now we've got this data populated. If we click on create, this should create an event. And if the event is successfully created, then there is a pop-up message which confirms that. Since now that we created the event, we can go to view. And as mentioned, there is a list of all the created events, of the existing events. So clicking on that will give us the location of the event, event date, and event time. Now, if we go to the edits page, then we can, by selecting on the event, we can make it unavailable so that no users of the system can register for that, or we can edit the event details by providing a new title, new location, changing the date, and the time as well. We can cancel that or change that. Since we registered that on the 17th of August, we might just change it to the 17th of September. Let's give it the same name, Webs of Influence, location San Diego, USA, and the time is going to be this time 10 a.m. This should work. Event edited successfully. Now if we go back to the view page, clicking on that, the details are being updated. Now this is the events page. It's quite complicated when it came to mapping the logic behind it, but I think that it gives a brief enough description of what an administrator can be doing with events. As mentioned, on that label there is this generate user verification code, which will come in hand just in a second. Now that we know what the company side does, to an extent, we can go and register a user for that company. Clicking on home takes us to the home page, and register. We decide to register a user, and this time I'm going to register a user who is called Hawkeye, one of my favorite actors from the Avengers. And then since we want to register this user for the company we just registered, Galaxy, we need to select the company list as Galaxy. Then we fill in the position sales engineer. Email would be hawkeye@gmail.com, 12345 12345. Check if that's correct. Yeah. Now the reason I left the verification code empty is because that verification code is basically the authorization from the company administrator that allows the registration of this employee within the company workspace. And how this happens. Now, since at present I'm going to be the employee and the company administrator, I will leave these details and I'm going to go back to the company side. Influencer 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I'm going to go to the number of employees and I'll click generate user verification code. Now this code, I'll save it down. Notepad. Code QW. That's the code for registration, for user registration. And as administrator, Now I can provide this code to the employee that has requested to register within the company. And now I can go and continue with the registration. And by the way, the generation of this code is one time, so it's only available for one-time usage. Currently, the code is saved into the database, but when the user registers, then the code is automatically deleted. Hawkeye Galaxy Sales Engineer and hawkeye@gmail.com 5 oops 2 3 4 5. Then the code is going to be code QW3R. And now, since this data is all filled in, terms and conditions behave absolutely the same way as the previous page. By clicking on it, the user agrees the terms and conditions displayed on that page, similar to the company registration. And then clicking on register account, that considers the registration successful. Now, since we registered with the email hawkeye@gmail.com 1 2 3 4 5, login, and that takes us to our dashboard. In the user dashboard, the user, similar to the company, can see the company title that he or she is registered for, the job title of the user, the last active date. I'll come back to that. The amount of contacts that the user has, a personal code, which comes in hand further down the line, and the number of events that the user is registered in. Starting from the last active, there's a typo there. This box displays the last time when the user logged in into the system, and the reason that right now is getting data for you in a placeholder text is because this is the first time the user logs in. Therefore, there is no data of previous logs. The contacts amount changes when user adds other users to the contact network, and the number of events increases when the user registers for other events. Personal code is used as a code which other users can use to find the details of this particular user, and I'll show this with an example. Profile page displays a little more about the profile of the user: first name, last name, company title, email, and I left a button here, change password, which opens up another page where the user can change the password. Networking, this is the section where users can find other users. One way of doing that is through the company workspace. Let's say clicking on SalesSeek, there is a user there. Through the company workspace, I can find the users that are registered for that company. In such case, Rory Hilson. Then the data is being displayed. Rory Hilson, his email, and then the job title. Say I want to decide to add this user to my contact network, then I click add user, and that's being added. And then the page, which is a contacts page, personal to me, opens up with a list of all the users being there and further explanation about the details. Clicking on the user populates the text boxes, and then that could be used for a little more networking. I can delete, I can add a new contact, I can go back to the dashboard. Say I want to add a new contact. Now, one way of finding other users is through the company workspace, and then choosing that user. However, I've developed the find via personal code functionality, which basically allows the data retrieval of users using the personal code, such as this one. Now that I know my other account, or now that I know other accounts' personal code, I can just look it up, and I think that should be working. Look up, and this displays details of some random user. Now, probably you have spotted that, but the label got red framed, but that is because there are two buttons there. Each of is responsible for different functionality. There is Add Select User button, which has the purple border, which relates to the company's data retrieval, users data retrieval through the company side. And then by toggling this button, the buttons change, and now there is only one dedicated button at a time. And now I want to look up this code. Clicking on lookup displays the data of the user this code belongs to. Now I want to add this user to my contact network. Then I click on add user, and that's successfully added to my user, to my contact network. Now back to the dashboard. Now since I added two contacts, this has updated, and that is updated dynamically when the dashboard opens up in regards to the data that is being displayed here. Now let's head to the event section. Probably you remember that we created one event with SalesSeek. Clicking on the current event button opens up all the currently existing events within the system that are active and that users can register to. We have development operations, app operations, mix-up events, some random data that I've populated, but the one that we created was webs of influence. Clicking on an event from the list displays the details that we set in the company site when we created that, and then we can decide to join the selected event. Now we haven't joined any event with that account, therefore if we click view join events, there shouldn't be any data here, as there is not. Now back to join event through the button, webs of influence, join selected event, registration successful. That opens up that page similar to the contacts, and then same data is being displayed. Now say I want to opt out from this event, click delete selected event. You have been removed from the selected event notification message displays. Back to the events page, I can see that webs of influence, I can join it, registration successful, and now onto the dashboard I can see that I've increased the amount of events that I'm registered into. Essentially I've got the messages page as well. However, this is currently unavailable as it's one of the functionalities that I didn't implement, but I believe that this will add a very strong side and very complete way of user-to-user messaging system. Now that we have registered user Hawkeye within company Galaxy, now we can go back to the company's page, influencer 1, and then we see that the number of employees increased because that employee got registered into the company. Clicking on the number of employees label, we can see that person at the time when registered 7 minutes ago, and so on. Events, we still see our event, and I believe that this was a quick enough demo of my final year project application, inTouch, and an event and networking management application. Thank you.